everybody, this is Schwan. I am vlogging here from beautiful Las Vegas. This is actually the first time in a long time that I'm here at the very beginning of the Vegas summer grind and actually playing poker. I haven't done like the full schedule thing in so long, in so many years. Honestly, partially it's because I've never had a good year. But it's also because like I used to get burnt out, party too much, like just be like really sad, like halfway through it and like stop caring. But I'd like to think that I have a bit more maturity now. And I'm also kind of gamifying it a little bit. I am leading up all of these events to the WPT Alpha 8 25K. WPT Global is going to allow me to give away a huge portion of any winnings I might have there for someone who follows and subscribes, and also someone who signs up to WPT Global using my bonus code Schwan. But I'll figure out the details for that later. That's not the only reason I'm doing this. The plan is to put out a vlog every single week while I'm here. It's not going to be quite as hardcore as Daniel's. Man, what he does takes a lot of work, and unfortunately I'm not going to have like my camera at the table like when I play every time. A lot of it is going to be like me writing down hands after and talking to you guys about it right now. And of course, I'll also have like some random footage from, you know, rocking around the complex and other things I'm doing, which could be really interesting or could be really boring depending on how I do. Hopefully you guys understand tournament poker has a ton of variance. Not just that, but in some fields, I still feel very understudied. And above all, I'm still prioritizing my mental and physical health. So even though when I look down on the schedule and every single day there's like 3 or 4 amazing tournaments I'd love to play, I still am treating it like a marathon. I'm, you know, just taking it day by day. Who knows? If I feel like I need a break, I might just leave, go somewhere else halfway through the series and come back for the final push. So before we got here to Vegas, we were playing on WPT Global. They were just having the Break Free Spring Festival. Honestly, it was kind of a disappointing end for me. I had deep runs, including day 2s in all of the majors, including the 3500, the 215 main event, and like a few others. Like basically, if you could make a day 2 for an event, I made a day 2, and for most of them I had a huge stack, and for one of them I had like average or something. But day 2 was just pretty horrible all around. I think I ended up breaking even for the series when I was literally like dreaming about having my name on that WPT trophy already. Hello everybody, this is Schwan. Today is day 1 of WSOP. There's a 5K happening, the Champions Reunion, where there's a bounty on each previous main event winner's head. I'm a little late today. Honestly, I was thinking about skipping it because I'm still a bit under the weather. Just like kind of gross and phlegmy and sore throat, and my voice isn't quite there, like nasally still, if you haven't noticed. But I think I'm gonna end up going. I'm just waiting to drop someone off at the airport right now. So a little late, but it's fine. Alright, walking through Paris to my first event. Already pretty packed, to be honest. Hi! Who are you with?
From there? Or? Yeah, he's from Florida. He's
Let's go, Joshy boy! Lucy landed. Oh, there we go. Hi, Bruce. It's new friend now. Lucy, how you landed?
God bless.
Just about a 60 seconds and 1 minute, 70-second descender recovery. Oh my god, I am so flustered. I've never done anything like that before, but I was stopped at a red light and I got so excited. I saw a sign that said this new hot pot place was opening at Resorts World, and I totally just like bumped into the car in front of me.
It's gonna be hard for people.
You should verify all players on your tablet as they arrive. Should turn gold.
Alright, we have our first catch of the summer. Throw is still not really cooperating too well. Nice little hourly there. We maxed on day 1 and we laddered a bunch on day 2 from between like 10 to 20 big blinds like basically the whole time. So nothing to complain about, just couldn't get anything going. Missed late registration for the other stuff happened today, so we're gonna take the rest of our evening off. We are meeting our favorite sashimi for dinner. Nice! Alright, so first time I want to talk about in the 5K champion reunion. It's 42K effective, big blind is 1200. I open on the button to 2400. Small blind calls, big blind also comes along. Flop is Jack 2-4, so we have top pair, top kicker. They both check. I bet 3500. It's a pretty dry board. You know, it would be great if one of them had like a smaller pair at this point, but didn't seem like anybody was thinking about 3-betting. And of course we block top pair here, so I think betting small is good. Small blind calls, big blind folds. Turn is a 6, so it does complete a straight if he did elect to PO with a hand like 3-5 suited from the small blind. But we're not too worried about it. He checks, we bet 6K here, and he calls. On the river is a offsuit queen, no other draws completed or anything. He checks to us. When he calls our second barrel, we definitely feel like he would have a pair that we can probably get more value from, just because there's not any more draws out there. We do block the jack, like we said, but a lot of other Jack X hands that he could be calling from small blind rather than 3-betting. Whereas if he had a hand like, you know, 7s to 9s or something, which is second pair to the board, he probably would have 3-bet those hands. So we definitely lean towards him having top pair here. So other combos that he could have are King Jack, Queen Jack, you know, Jack 10, Jack 9 sometimes that we are beating. Obviously Queen Jack makes 2 pair here, not ideal. King Jack could have even thought about 3-betting pre at some frequency. But on this river we do decide to value bet, and it does pay off because he didn't think very long and he called with King Jack, so we had him out-pipped. Pretty fortunate here. I'm also happy I didn't check back that river. Dee Dee Bear. You know, like I said, the queen could have definitely helped him a portion of the time, but it's definitely a spot where we're probably just bet folding to a check raise. So we get moved to a new table, which was actually nice because we moved to Johnny Chan's table and he was a bounty. Hi. Star-studded table. Johnny Wave. Hi. So we were pretty short. I think we had like 12 big blinds on the button. We just jammed ace-10 offsuit. But straight into Cherish Andrews ace-jack from the big blind. She's been crushing it. Wish her all the luck. You know, I see her basically every tournament I'm at, and she seems to be doing great and is super well studied, and always love to see more women in these fields. So the following day, we max late regged the 1100 win, $2 million guaranteed. It ended up being like 380K for first, which is amazing because how many tournaments can you play for like, 3 days and make 400K from a $1,000 investment? So we maxed late reg and we played like 5 hours on the first day. So first interesting hand of note, we are 60K effective. Big blind is 1500, low jack makes it 3500, small blind calls, and we are in the big blind with 7-6, 1 club, and we call. Flop comes 9-7 deuce, 2 clubs. We have middle pair here. We're pretty happy, but it's multi-way, so we definitely need to proceed cautiously. Small blind check, I check as well. Low jack here elects to check this behind. Don't blame him for that. He's playing against 2 ranges that that flop could be pretty good for. And nothing wrong with not wanting to bloat a pot here and seeing a free turn. Turn is in 8, offsuit 8. And small blind leads 3,500 into the 2 of us. Here now we have a straight draw with a pair. If we had a stronger straight draw or, more of the board coverage, we could definitely think about raising here. But again, like small blind's range here could potentially be pretty strong as well. So we do decide to just call. Low jack ends up calling here, which I think is interesting. Makes me believe that maybe he has like a 10x type hand, a draw, which could possibly be why he didn't want to bet the flop and potentially get blown off his reasonable equity. But he comes along, so now we're 3-way. The river ends up being in 8 of club. So the flush draw, the front door flush draw actually gets there and it pairs up the board. At this point, small blind checks, and we are so happy about this because we do not think we're actually going to be winning at showdown very often, but now we get a chance to bluff. We very likely could have had a flush draw on the flop. We could also have 8x hands. And since we have the 7-6, which blocks some of the 8x combos, we do think that the chance of them having trips here is also diminished. So we end up making a pretty hefty bet, 11K. We also don't think low jack could have very much here, like I said, just because he checked the flop and didn't elect to raise that turn. He folds pretty quickly, comes back to small blind. He like groans and mumbles a little bit, and even says something like, "Oh, what are you repping here?" And his spidey senses were tingling, but he ends up folding, and we end up taking down this pretty good pot. All right, so this next interesting hand is kind of interesting because of some like interpersonal dynamics. Let me know what you guys think. So we're 80K effective at 5K big blind. I make it 11K from the low jack with a pair of 9s. Cutoff calls and big blind also calls. Info on the players: low jack, haven't seen much from him. Big blind, I've seen him limp call a couple of times and also make like a slightly bigger opening bet. So, but otherwise he seems to be like more on the loose side for sure, but definitely a thinking player. The flop comes 8-5-3, rainbow with 1 club. Obviously, anytime the board is all lower cards to your pair, you're pretty happy. I make it 16K. Cutoff folds, big blind comes along. Now turn is a 7 of clubs, so it does complete some draws, and it also brings a backdoor club draw. We're not ecstatic about this card, but we also have a gut shot here. 6 gives us a straight. Having 2 9s in our hands ensures that he doesn't have some 9x, 9-8, 9-7, those type of hands. And quite frankly, I think if he had like 8-6, 8-7, something like that on the flop, he would also be check raising us at some frequency. So we're not super afraid of this turn. And so he tanks here, and I think he knows, or at least he's trying to think if this hand is bad for our range and all his options. He thinks for like a while, like more than a minute, and I think I might have looked away for a split second or took my eyes off him for like a split second, and then the dealer was just looking at me, and I didn't exactly see him check, but the dealer was now staring at me, and I probably waited another 15 seconds or so, and the dealer was still staring at me. And usually at this point, I would verify just to make sure he checked. But I think he was actually such a keen observer that I didn't really want to give away anything by the demeanor at which I would be asking. So I actually just ended up reaching for chips, and I went behind and I grabbed like a big stack, and as I was like pushing my stack forward, he immediately bets like 27k. I was going to go all in actually for my whole stack at this point. And when he makes that bet, everybody's a little confused, including myself. To me, it kind of looked like he was trying to angle me, even though it's kind of ironic, because was I angling myself, for acting out of turn? I know I certainly wasn't trying to act out of turn to get him to make a move, that he otherwise would not have. But it was just bizarre to me that as I was putting in chips, that's when he decides to bet. And, we have to think of why he wants to do that. And to me, the most obvious reason is because he didn't actually want me to go all in and make as big of a bet that I did. But the floor gets called.
He hadn't acted.
Yeah, and if you go all in, rally,
She said all in.
she did her option before he.
I don't want to give away anything at this point, so I'm not like, oh, the bet has to stand, or does this reopen the betting sequence or anything. I try not to say anything that might affect anything, because quite frankly, I think I'm actually okay with any decision here. And so the decision ends up being that he does have his action. He gets to make it 27k, but that I would also have all my actions at my disposal. So I can fold, I can call, and I can go all in. My brain's a little wonky here, but I went with my read of his intention for watching me do that. And he actually ends up calling me in the spot. I don't know which level we're on. Maybe he thought, there's no way he could have thought that I was angling him, because it was very genuine that I thought it was my turn, because the dealer was staring at me for a while, and I think everybody else was as well. But yeah, tell me what you think about that hand. It was definitely a risky raise. Some players in his situation could be doing this with the effective nuts, and they just don't want to be outdrawn. And I've definitely had that happen to me before. So I think in these situations, you do have to dig into their psychology a little bit. Based on how you see them play previous hands, their confidence levels, how they approach the game, you can sort of deduce what they wanted to happen in the situation. And in this spot, I definitely wanted to do what he did not want me to do, which was go all in. So it was definitely an interesting spot that catapulted me to be able to cash in this tournament. A few levels later, near the end of the evening, we're on the bubble. I get moved to a new table. My hands are kind of cuffed, playing like around 20 big blinds. I have Joe McKeon to my left and Calvin Anderson to my right. Basically the first hand I sit down, they're, playing a big pot and we're like, 6 or 7 to the money or something. So I know there's like bubble wars right now. And a few hands later, I see a guy from early position open. Cal 3-bets him. The guy thinks for a little bit, and he does have Cal covered. Cal had like 25 big blinds, and he rips, and Cal snap calls him. And not just snap call, he like turned his cards over with like a bang, like so proudly, knowing that his ace-10 offsuit was good. And the early position player meekishly like turns over queen-jack offsuit. And he explained after that he only did that because he had Cal covered by a few big blinds, and he knew even if he lost this spot that he could make it into the money, which is really fair, but it just goes to show, what level everybody is on. Obviously, Cal ends up basically opening every other hand. We do get like one jam, one like 20 big blind jam with like deuces on him or something, but eventful other than that. We want to play properly like a good pro here, and didn't want to get too feisty for sure. So yeah, we came back on day 2 with like 22 big blinds, slightly below average. Honestly, we were pretty happy that we ended up finishing like 82nd place or something. Couldn't really get anything going, and the entire day we just had between 10 and 20 big blinds. Nothing really interesting or of note, to be honest. We ended up busting like on a BBB shove. We had Jack-9 off, ran into E7, could not hold. But yeah, definitely got a taste of, oh my God, is this gonna be my next final table? Am I gonna win 380 American dollars the following day kind of taste, and just wanted more of that. The next day after that, my sleep was a little off. I max regged the 1K WSOP Mystery Bounty. This tournament's cool. I've never played it before, but one of the bounties is going to be $1 million draw, which for a 1K, having $1 million bounty opportunity on top of being able to potentially win it for $1 million is very cool, in my opinion. And we couldn't avoid it, even though, honestly, it's as lucky as I feel like I am, like as a human being. I look at like this sea of humans playing poker, and I'm just like, wow, like it's effectively like winning the lottery, and I definitely need to channel more of that, like, yes, this is like my day, I'm gonna win this 1K energy. Like the win, it was like 2,500 runners or so, that was like, and there was also 3 flights, and day 2 came back with like 300 something people. And to me, that still felt winnable. But, in this tournament, I look up on the board and it's like 7,000 people. And it's just like 2 huge, massive convention rooms. So I'm just like, is it really gonna be me for this one? Probably not. But we fired one bullet that one day. Didn't work out, but we were able to register for a new WSOP online account. Ended up going deep-ish in the online event, getting close enough to be like, I want to do more, but not quite enough that I'm, really sad or super excited about it yet. But I can definitely feel it coming. The following day, I actually just interviewed David Coe. He is the WPT Montreal winner. All right, everybody, I'm here with David Coe. He is the most recent WPT winner. He provided some great analysis on a couple of his hands at the final table where he put on a clinic. We had a really good chat after, and it was super nice to just learn a bit more about his trajectory so far as a pro, considering he's only 23 years old and has only been playing poker for 2 years. But yeah, he has a super interesting story and gave me a glimpse as to like his motivations and his like study process and all that. So after that, I went to flick in the mystery bounty again for $1,000 at first. End up busting with queens to ace queen. It's whatever, you know, for not that many big blinds, since when I came in it was only I only had 15 big blinds. Actually, there is a pretty interesting hand that happened very first orbit. So we're 40K effective at 3K big blind. I'm in the cutoff. I raised to 6,500 with a pair of tens, including the 10 of diamonds. Small blind with heaps. He has like over 150 big blinds. This like middle-aged, like friendly-looking Asian guy. You know, he's been going after it for sure. He calls. Flop is 7-3 deuce with 2 diamonds. Pretty good flop for us. He leads here, which I don't even mind so much from his standpoint. He definitely has some of those smaller pairs in this situation. He makes it 7,500, and at this point we can choose to raise or call. I think our hand is actually so strong that I ended up just calling. I know, you know, kind of based on instinct and just the few hands that I've been there for, that he's probably very, very wide here with his donking. Maybe a stubborn 7, but very much likely just folding if we do raise here. So we just call to trap, even though we do have somewhat of a vulnerable hand. Turn is an ace of diamonds, so immediately we're like, oh no, like what have we done? Like just a little bit. But again, we're not super worried about monsters under the bed. He ends up checking this. I think he thinks that I'm probably floating that flop with some ace-x hands as well. You know, hands that wouldn't have been good enough to raise, but definitely would have wanted to hit a pair on the turn. So he slows down and we end up checking this behind as well. Don't really see much value in betting here. I don't think we're going to be getting value from a worse hand than us at this point. We can choose to value bet that in the river if we want to. And of course, if he jams on us here, like we're going to be hating life. So we check back here. River's a queen of spades. So the flush draw did not get there. And he pretty confidently just puts me all in for 26K here. So in my head already, I'm like, okay, I kind of expected you to take this exact line with most of the hands that you're leading with. You know, if that ace hadn't come, you probably would have barreled turn and put me all in by the river. And now that you've seen me check back this ace, you know, chances are I don't have an ace-x hand in here, and you can definitely apply max pressure here with like a pot-sized bet. And so because I kind of anticipated that, I made the call pretty quickly, and he ended up having king 5 offsuit for king 5. You know, definitely did think that he would have the heart to do something like that with a hand that has a tiny bit of interaction on the flop, but otherwise is a complete bluff. And he mumbled something about completely giving me a gift after, but to that, I like to say that it's not a gift because I still had to work to use my deductive reasoning skills, you know, to call on that river. It wasn't like a pre-flop setup situation or like, you know, us both having huge hands post-flop that we couldn't get away from. Like those are what I consider gifts. In this spot, I feel like I could have made a different decision at every point, but ended up doing well and doubling up against a hand that otherwise I probably shouldn't have. So we win this one, but end up like losing a BVB hand where our opponent flopped a wheel on us when we had a pretty strong pair with a king. But, you know, blinds go up so quickly. There were still like 7,000 players in this field or something. And we end up just losing, and we ended up losing, like, we jammed 5s from the button for like 8 big blinds. No, like even less than that, like 6 big blinds or something. And big blind had like 9s or something. Anyway, I'm also might be thinking of the online PKO hand that I played. I didn't write these down because I was playing like 3 tournaments at a time. There were 2 bracelet events online, and I was playing live. Not ideal if I was in a super important event, but because I was short stack, I didn't think there were too many decision points for me. So anyway, so today was not good, but we have really exciting things to come this week. There is a 5K, there's a shootout, there is a MGM main, and yeah, you know, we got a taste of victory. We got a handed mob, we got some points, but definitely expect to do a lot better. Gonna be playing the 25K at the end of summer, the WPT Alpha 8. That's gonna be the grand finale of my summer. Giving away 15%, giving 5% away to someone who likes, subscribes, and comments, and giving away another 10% in 2% increments to players who sign up to WPT Global with my bonus code Xuan XUAN. That's going to help me a lot. You know, I'm a brand ambassador for the site, and to measure how effective my messaging and brand is, you know, I have to have people sign up with my code. So it would help me greatly if you could do that. If you don't have a WPT Global account already, I think you do have to deposit and just like play one thing or something before you cash out. But you know, any signups or clicks or anything is going to be helpful. So I super appreciate if you could do that if you are somewhere where you can play online poker. Okay, before I leave, I totally forgot to show you guys. I have this feature in Card Player Magazine. Thank you so much to Cameron and Craig Tapscott and the people at Card Player for interviewing me and putting me on this cool feature. I just talk about like playing high stakes poker, and it has a few cute photos of me. So if you guys get a chance to get a hold of one of these, please do so. And go support. Oh, it's from April. I didn't even realize it was that long ago. But anyway, thank you for everyone who's been following me, and to all the people who've just like come up to me to say hi. You know, I'm a super shy and introverted person as well, and I tend not to fangirl super hard these days anymore, but like I definitely get those moments, and I know sometimes you really got to work up your nerves. So I really appreciate that. And honestly, even if I'm like having a bad day, or if I look grumpy, or sometimes I'll just like have my mask on, I never mind when you do that, as long as I'm not like in a hand or something. Yeah, it definitely makes me feel super good that, you know, you guys are getting something out of my content and my presence in the poker world. Actually, super cool story at WPT Montreal. This guy I was playing against like folded to me, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like let you make me cry again or something." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And on break, he told me how like watching one of the videos for my Canadian vlog, it was like late, and he was like in a mood, and watching that like made him tear up, and I just thought it was the sweetest thing. Not to say that, you know, I want to have that kind of emotional effect on everybody, but just like knowing that it's making an impact really touches me as well. So thank you guys. Hope your summer's going well, Yeah, stay safe, have fun, and gamble responsibly.